Hello students, this is Shiv Prakash and today you will study here second poem of your book Flamingo, an elementary school classroom in a slum. It is composed by Stephen Spender, who was born in 1909 and he died in 1995. He had keen interest in politics, so he liked to be called socialist, and he raised many issues which were against the people. And here also he is raising his concern for the slum students. As you can see that the title is an elementary school classroom in a slum. So by observing the title, you can identify the theme of the poem, and you have surely seen any school or any classroom which is situated in a slum. No facility is there. The walls are very bad, and it is never painted, and perhaps the level of the education is also low, because if you say that if any person in any student is a malnutritious, then surely he would not be able to understand the studies clearly, and in slum most of the students are malnutritious because they don't get enough to feed on. So before starting the poem, you must know some word meanings which I am going to show you. These are the meanings which you must note down somewhere before reading the poem. Now we can start the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, the children faces like rootless weeds. The hair torn around their palo, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with the rat's eye, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of a squirrel's game in the room other than this. So, students, in the first paragraph of the poem, the poet wants to create a scene in your mind that you must imagine the class which is established in a slum, that the children who study there, their condition is such that they are rootless weeds. Their faces are glim, means sad, and they are like weeds. You can understand that weeds are such plants which are unwanted, and here these children are also regarded as unwanted for the society. So very cleverly the poet says that like rootless weeds, because they are discarded from the society, they are away from the mainstream of the society. They hair torn around their pallor. The poet says that their condition is very worst. The students who are there, their hairs are not well maintained, they are turned, twisted and very dirty. The dressing sense the hygiene is nowhere. Means no hygiene is considered because they don't get water, they don't get proper water, and the cleaning material means soap, etc., and that's why they are dirty. They earn, their family members earn as much only they can survive, not they can fill their bellies. They only survive anyhow, and this is the condition which is depicted here. The tall girl with her weight. A girl is also there who is tall, and she is burdened by anything, by her poverty, you can say. She is poverty stricken girl, and the weight of his father's poverty is on her, and that's why she has kept her down. The next boy is called, he is compared to a paper seeming boy, means very thin boy with rat's eye. Students, rat's eye is compared here as lusty, you can say greedy eyes, who has a kind of greed, and he is very thin. Paper seeming boy means he is very thin. The stunned, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. The another boy is also there who is very unlucky heir of his father, because he has inherited disease from his father, and that's how he is diseased, or you can say deformed. His lesson from his desk at back of the dim class one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream, a squirrel's game in the room other than this. And there is one boy who is very much different from all other boys, who is watching outside of the class. He is not present there because he is dreaming something. He is dreaming of a squirrel's game and other things, who wants to be something, or he has some kind of dreams. So in this passage, the condition of the students who study there has been depicted. So next comes what is depicted here. You will see on sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, belled flowery, tireless valley, open handed map, avoiding the word it's a word. And yet for these children, these windows, not this word, are word, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. So, in this second passage, the classroom condition has been depicted, that the walls of the room are very dirty. They have not been painted for long time. Donations means someone has donated something like posters, papers, etc., and these are hung there. One of them of Shakespeare's poster, where Shakespeare's head is appearing. Shakespeare is half balded, and he is considered his head is considered as a rising sun, because he has a lot of wit, and you can say that Shakespeare is a symbol of literacy. So Shakespeare's head is compared to the rising sun, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. The event happens in all civilization. Civilized domes mean that is very literate, literate area or literate civilization, and all has rising sun, but they don't have any kind of rising sun, because there is not any kind of hope of ray of hope, and they spend their life in the darkness. Belt Flory, Tyrolese Valley, these all are the poster of these all are hung there. The flowers, belt, and Tyrolese Valley, it is a valley of Austria which is unfrozen, unsnowed, you can say. Open-handed maps avoiding the word its word, and there are maps of word also, and for them, the students who are studying there, the word is their slum. Outside of it, what is there, they don't know, because they haven't ever seen the outside world, the nature, the other things which they can enjoy. They don't have knowledge about these things. They have never seen such things which are beautiful, or the gift of nature. They have never enjoyed the gift of nature. They are provided only slum, and for them the slum is their world. And yet for these children, these windows, not this word or word, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in which with a lead sky, far far from rivers, capes, and stars of worlds. They don't know the outside world, and what is their word? That is the foggy walls which are depicted here. That is their classroom, which has a foggy appearance, a hazy appearance. Their future is also hazy like that. They are packed in that society only, the slum where they live, and their future is not bright. They don't have any kind of hope. They don't know the blue sky. The slum is their limit, and they are packed there. They don't know the gift of nature, that is rivers, cape. Cape is such a place which you can say a small island which is connected to the land, and the stars of world. They don't have any kind of literacy. Their future has only slum life where they are now. So in the first passage, the depiction of the students, how the students are appeared, and in the second passage you have studied that the condition of the classroom. Now come on the third passage. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, and the map a bad example, with the ship and sun and love tempting to them to steal for lives that shyly turn in their crumpet holes, from fog to endless night on their slag heap, the children, where skins peeped through by bones and spectacles spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottles bit on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with the slums as big as doom. The students who don't have any kind of knowledge, literacy, or they are away from the nature. So for them, Shakespeare is a wicked person because they are always away from the love. They have never been given any kind of love, any kind of care. They never get. And that's why the persons like Shakespeare is wicked for them. They don't know the reality of life, why we are here, why we have found the life. They don't know because they are illiterate and they don't know the meaning of the life. They never enjoy the rising sun, they never enjoy the nature, which is very beautiful, but they are given hate. So they are tempted to steal something. They are tempted to steal lives, and they live only, they want to live only in their cramped holes. Cramped hole means their houses, which are supposed to be like holes. From fog to endless night, and in their life there is nothing that is bright like sunshine. Fog is there forever in their lives, and the night, which is regarded as the darkness, hopelessness, and it is existing in their life for long. On their slag heap, the children wear skin peeped through by bones, and they are malnutritious. They don't have enough to eat. They are as thin, you can say that a paper, as a paper. So what they are wearing, their clothes, it appears like skins, and through them you can count their ribs, their bones, because they are malnutritious. And the spectacles which they are wearing are of a bad kind of steel with a mended glass, which is a kind of cheap spectacle, and even they cannot see clearly through that. Still they are wearing such spectacles. It is like bottle bits on stones, means it is rubbed on stone, and such spectacles they are wearing because they don't have money to purchase the new one, and you can say they don't have enough money so that they can spend on their other necessities, except food. They earn only on which they can survive. They can eat a piece of bread to live life. They don't know what is called the nutrition. They don't have any idea of it. They only eat on that they can live only. All their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their map with the slums as big as doom. So the world map which has been hung there is not their world. Their world is the place where they live now, that is the slum. So in the third passage the condition of their literacy, their status, their economy has been depicted here, that they don't have any kind of economy, means they don't have any money, they have as much food on which that they can survive only. And here it is the last paragraph. Unless governor, teacher, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut open their lives like catacombs, break open till they break the town and show the children green fields and make their world run azure on gold sand, and let their tongues run naked into books, and the white and green leaves open. History is theirs, whose language is the sun. The poet requests to all the authorities, governors, government, teacher, inspector, visitor, all who are responsible for their condition, because the government has set up the slum, and they are bound there, they are limited there, their lives have no hope, and for their own purpose the government has done so. And the poet requests here to the authorities to be their sunshine, to teach them and to become their path shower. Their life have become in such a place which is like a catacomb. Catacomb means a burial land where the dead bodies are buried. So this is compared here to that place only. The slum is compared to the burial ground only. So he requests that to break open the windows and let them know the word which actually exists. They must go out the actual word, not the word which has been depicted in their map. It is not such a map which can be shown to the students. Let them run from the foggy lands to the sky, to the blue sky, and to the sand, gold sand, to the rivers, and let them taste the world, and let them have a look on the white and green. White and green means white is compared to the books and green is compared to the nature. So they will have knowledge of the books as well as the natures when they will be taught and they will be given the support. Let them make the history, and if any person does not know about the nature, then how can he uplift himself and survive in the world? So government must look at such students who are bonded at such a place like slum. They are the future of the world, because the future is in their hand. So let them be hopeful and let them shine in the open sky. So students, this is all about the poem, and now I will tell you more about the poem, that is the rhyming scheme and the figure of speech which are being used here. So, first of all, I will tell you about the rhyming scheme. Students, the poem is free of any kind of words. Means it is a free verse poem where no rhyming scheme is there. But some figure of speeches are there, which I will tell you. Here in the first line, fur, that is the repetition, means it gives a special effect to the poem. And in the second line, like rootless weeds, the children are compared to the rootless weeds. So here simile will be there. The next, the paper seeming boy. Here again the metaphor, because the students are compared to the paper seeming and without any kind of such word like, such as. So metaphor will be there. And next comes metaphor will be there because there is comparison like sour cream. So without any kind of word like, such as, so it will be metaphor. When any great personality is compared to anything or shown at any place, then it is called allusion. So Shakespeare's head is allusion here. The next is belt, flowery, Tyrole's valley. In all four words you will find the repetition of E, the vowel E, and when any vowel is repeated continuously, then there is assonance. The next one is their futures painted with fog. So here also metaphor will be there. The next, crumpet holes. Metaphor is there because their houses are compared to crumpet holes. The next, from fog, FF. Alliteration will be there. In this line, spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stone, then here will be simile. And here will also be simile. As big as doom, simile will be there. In the last paragraph, you will see run and run. In these two lines, it has come continuously. So if in the starting of any sentence same word comes continuously, then anaphora is there. It is called anaphora. Here also metaphor, books white and green, leaves open. A comparison that white is compared to books, green is compared to nature. So metaphor will be there. So students, this is all about the poem. Hopefully you will have understood all about it.